Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the AIMIMO Design 9067. Start off the wrist check. I'm wearing this Christopher Ward C60, and Grogo is wearing my Thorn SHY 036. Grogo said that he and Mando were making a movie where they are searching for lost treasure while being pursued by Cad Bane. It's called The Good, the Bad, and the Hungry. Alright, let's take a look at the watch. Comes in this very simple box, AIMIMO Design. Not much to it. And here it is. Not a bad looking watch considering the price. I kind of like it. I've been enjoying wearing it. This is the first AIMIMO design on my channel. This is a small second chronograph that looks kind of like a Breitling Super Ocean Heritage. Especially the bezel, but unlike the Breitling, the bezel doesn't actually spin and it's just for looks. When it comes to watch props, a non-functional timing bezel or a 30-meter chronograph is probably the least offensive, especially when there are no counters on the bezel. This watch comes in 3 different colorways. If you don't like the white dial with the blue bezel, there's also a white dial with the green bezel. If white dials aren't your thing, there's also a black dial with black bezel. All 3 come on the mesh bracelet. The watch is 42.1 millimeters at the bezel, which slightly overhangs the case. 48.3 millimeters lug to lug, which isn't bad considering it's a 42. It's only 10.6 millimeters thick, which is fairly thin. Has a 22 millimeter lug width with no taper at all at the clasp. And weighs 103 grams on the supplied mesh bracelet. Then we have the bezel. The bezel's fixed. It doesn't spin. On a real Super Ocean Heritage, the whole point would be that you could use it to time while underwater, because you can't use the chronograph while underwater because you don't dare push the pushers. But this is a 30-meter watch, so you're not going to be timing anything underwater. So it's probably okay that the bezel don't work. Then we have the dial. The dial is white with it's flat, no sunburst effect. And then we have the chapter ring, and we have tiny little lume dots right next to the indices. And then we have the indices themselves. We have batons everywhere and a double baton at the 12. And we got little mini batons where the subdials are. Then we have the hands. The hands are skeleton hands, and they have arrow tips that are loomed. And then we have a red running second hand that is not loomed. And then up top it says AIMIMO Design. And then it says chronometer, but they misspelled it. They spelled it TRE at the end instead of ER. So maybe they can get away with saying it's a chronometer because they're not spelling it correctly. I don't know, but I guess nobody cares. Then we have a date at the 4:30 with a border. I think the date looks fine. I prefer a date. A lot of people don't like dates on the chronographs because the more expensive Swiss watches don't have dates on their chronographs, but that's because their complications are so complicated. Adding a date makes it even more complicated. On a Quartz watch, it's fine. Then we have the subdials. We have the 24-hour indicator on the right. We have the chronograph small second hand on the bottom and the chronograph minute counter on the left. Let me get the hour hand out of the way and we'll see the chronograph on action. And there it is ticking away. You just get 1 tick a second and that's it. You get no sub-seconds. So this chronograph isn't that useful. Then we have the crown. The crown is a push-pull signed, not a screw down. You don't need screw down with 30 meters, plus the pushers aren't screw either. So it's always kind of pointless to have a screw down crown if the pushers aren't screw down. Because the pushers are the things you're more concerned about underwater, more so than the crown. The crown action doesn't feel all loose. So let's see if I can set it without the minute hand jump. And yeah, it barely moved, but not enough to be annoying. So that's good. Then we have a flat mineral glass crystal. Nothing special about it, nothing wrong with it. Then we have the case. The case is a chrome plated alloy, but it has a nice shape to it and wears nice and flat on the wrist. So I like the case. Not all chrome plated alloys are created equal, and this one doesn't feel too cheap. Then we have the case back, says stainless steel back, 3 ATM water resistant, then AIMIMO Design 809067Q. And there's no fake notches. This is strictly a press-on case back, and there's the notch for the pry bar. Underneath the case back is the PE90 movement. This is a pretty common Chinese-made chronograph movement that's in a lot of these watches with the small second and no sub-seconds. At least, like I said, you can set it, not too difficult. Then we have the bracelet. The bracelet's a mesh bracelet, no quick release, but it's pretty thick. It's a lot better than a lot of these mesh bracelets are in this price range. So I've been happy with the bracelet. And the buckle is signed. I just wish it had quick release. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. It looks nice. It wears nice. And as you can see, I have a good inch to go out. So you should be able to wear this 8.5, no problem. And it is a fairly big watch because it's a 42, but it sits nice and flat and it's fairly thin. So I like it. Here we are in the loom room. This is a small second AliExpress chronograph, so I knew that the loom wouldn't be any good, but let's see if it's at least so-so. As we speed up the time, we see that the arrow tips of the hands are loomed as well as little dots next to the indices. Unfortunately, the minute hand is already gone. The hour hand is a little bit better, but still fades before the dots, so this loom isn't even so-so. What do I like about this watch? Well, it looks and wears nice. I like this red second hand, and I forgot to mention it hits the marks. And I do like the dial. I think they did a good job with it, and I like the shape of the case. What are my grapes and groans? Says chronometer, even though they misspelled it. This is not a chronometer. It's a small second chronograph. I think chronographs should be large second. And I don't know, there's really not that much to complain about considering the price. I guess because the bezel doesn't move. Do I recommend this watch? Sure, didn't cost a lot of money. It looks and wears nice. And it's kind of, yes, I know it's an homage to the Breitling, but you don't see a lot of these Breitling homages. So, yeah, it's not a unique design, but it's not a very common design either. Well, thank you for watching my review of the AIMIMO Design 9067. I will be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. And if you like this watch, be sure to use my affiliate link and I'll get a tiny commission. But those tiny commissions do add up. Bye.